What's up, guys? Chaz and Charlie, and today I want to discuss if you're quitting weed and you fear that you won't have any creative juices flowing. I can't speak for all weed heads or ex-weed heads, but I think the majority of people who are addicted to weed are possibly creative people. We like to use the excuse when we are smoking that, weed makes us stink. Weed makes us bounce new ideas around in our head, which it does sometimes. I think the problem with weed and ideas and these creative uses, it gives you a lot of ideas, but it almost gives you too many ideas. It makes you think too much to where you can't actually have any concentrated focus on one particular thought or idea. Not saying you can't, smoke weed and make something creative or make something great or make something good. That's not my point. But when we tend to smoke weed all the time, every day, we tend to, we can bleed over into other areas in our life. And I've explained how, we tend to connect weed and food if we smoke for a long period of time. But we also tend to blend weed and creativity. If we are a person, whether we're a musician or a artist, a painter, a filmmaker, whatever creative avenue you have, you probably believe that you think of your best idea. Hold on, guys. You probably think of your best ideas when you're high. So when you are trying to quit, you may feel like, okay, now that I've quit weed, I won't be inspired to create things. I won't have that push in my mind when I smoke and I get ideas and things get to going in my head. When I'm just sober and I'm bored and I'm depressed in life, because we feel like once we, quit weed, we'll be depressed. We won't have anything interesting about our lives, and we'll say, where will we find our creative inspiration? And I will say, if you are a creative person, okay, maybe I shouldn't be a dog owner, because when Charlie does that burns me up. Okay, I know they say that dogs poop when they walk, is something about them being anxious or their nerves or whatever the case. That's so nerve-wracking. And I want to do something to Charlie when he does it. But anyway, guys, before I was so rudely interrupted by shit, we tend to feel like once we quit weed, we're not going to have any creative juices. And I was saying that if you're a creative person, you are a creative person. I don't think weed should be a dictator of whether you can get good ideas, whether you're high or not. If you are a person that's proficient in whatever medium you're in, whether it's art, music, or whatever, you should be able to create good stuff no matter what state that you're in. Now, again, as I said, weed will prompt you to think a lot or have ideas. Because I used to say, my wife would ask me, what's so good about weed, why you can't quit? I'd be like, it makes me think. It makes me think about different things. And that's an excuse that many weed heads tend to use. And again, it does. But if you're creative, you're just creative. Now, again, weed to kind of have you all over the place. You'll have a lot of ideas, and you won't actually, but you need your sober mind to take the actual good ideas, or the ones that will stick, or the ones that have the most potential, and hone in directly on those. The problem with weed is we smoke weed a lot, we're high, we got ideas, we're so creative, we're so fueled by all of them, we don't know which one to actually stick on. So in turns, it makes us kind of be all over the place. So we fear, and if you are, I would even suggest if you're not a creative person, or maybe you want to, but you've been afraid to do so, I would recommend, once you quit weed, to replace weed with something creative. Maybe you've always wanted to paint. Maybe you've always wanted to sing. Maybe you always want to do something, I don't know, make films. Why don't you replace weed with that? Give your life something exciting, something new, something that invigorates you, so you don't feel like you're actually losing something with weed. Now, for those of us who are already creative and we feel like weed fuels our creative juices, maybe you should take a week or two or even a month to just not do anything creative. Just once you've quit weed, learn about yourself, figure out your weaknesses, discover your new sober self. It might be hard the first week or two to think of ideas, or to try to, take your mind off of not smoking, trying to do something creative. Or maybe you're a person that, you just throw yourself into it. We're all different in that aspect. But I do think that sometimes we feel like if we don't have weed in our life, and we've been used to getting high and creating art, we're not going to have that same passion once we quit. And maybe if you, quit and you don't have passion for that art, maybe that art wasn't for you. Maybe you actually didn't like it. Once you quit weed, and maybe things that you do or feel like you like because weed is in your life, if weed is absent from your life and there's no interest to you, maybe that wasn't for you. Same thing with like friends. You have friends that you fear that if, I don't smoke, then that's going to end our relationship. If weed is the only thing that's tying you to this friendship, then maybe y'all weren't meant to be friends. Same thing with something creative. If you aren't inspired once you quit, maybe it wasn't something you really had true interest in. But I think if you are a creative individual, that if you are in a slump and you're feeling that way, you'll get over it, and you'll probably end up making your best work once you have a clear mind. Once I quit weed, I love film. I love making visual things. And I've been, making short films and videos and all that since 2006. And I actually quit. And of course I was high, thinking about deals, doing these things. But once I got married and started a family, I actually quit doing creative things. It wasn't as interesting. It wasn't until I quit weed that I jumped back into this channel, jumped back into doing things that were visually creative. And maybe I just smoked so much weed till I just burnt out all my creative juices. And we don't think of weed doing that, but that could definitely be a thing. So, maybe you clearing your head will be your avenue to doing something great, giving you new life, new breath into whatever avenue that you're in. So, if you're trying to quit weed, don't be afraid to quit weed because you feel like you won't be able to create art, because you will. If you are creative regardless. So, take this time to go out and take a walk to a park, get a breath of fresh air, and find out what next piece of art you are going to create. So So until next time, guys, please like, subscribe. Or if you're a person who, aren't creative and you want to step outside the box, go do that. So until next time, guys, please like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, comment below. And please remember, we are all in this together. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Life is hard, life is tough, but I'm sick of weed, and I have had enough. Life is closing in, but I'm pushing out. No more floating through clouds or being zoned out. Time is precious, time is short, no more wasting time. I'm building my own fort. Life is more than a bag of stems and seeds. My life is a cautionary tale I must heed. I want my shoes to be big shoes to fill, so I will take this time so I can heal. I'm writing my own story, so I can bask in my glory. Clouds or being zoned out. Time is precious, time is short, no more wasting time. I'm building my own fort. Life is more than a bag of stems and seeds. My life is a cautionary tale I must heed. I want my shoes to be big shoes to fill, so I will take this time so I can heal. Life, I'm writing my own story, so I can bask in my glory. Life, so I can bask in my glory. Life is hard, life is tough, but I'm sick of weed, and I have had enough. Life is closing in, but I'm pushing out. No more floating through clouds or being zoned out. Time is precious, time is short, no more wasting time. I'm building my own fort. Life is more than a bag of stems and seeds. My life is a cautionary tale I must heed.